Hi guys, happy Tuesday afternoon, that's what it is. Okay, so I want to go over, just kind of give you a broad overview of different ways that we can display data and what kinds of things those different ways show us about data. So the first way, in your packets, you have this in a smaller format, just in one page, these different ways, but it's a little bit hard to read and I want to add some more information. So the first way, we can display data with pictographs. And it's kind of a fun way to show data using pictures. This particular example has a bird as the unit, and it lines it up so we have A, B, and C and D coming down on this left side. So for example, for A, there's 3 birds there, and for B, there's 1 bird, C, 2 birds, and D has 2.5 birds. And so one of the things about representing data with pictures is that you can say that the picture represents a certain value. So let's pretend like I said the bird was worth 5. So essentially you have 5, 10, 15 for A, right? Not just 3 birds, but 15 that are represented there, okay? A bar graph represents specific categories of data, so it shows data in specific categories. And you'll notice with a bar graph, there's space between the bars, and each bar represents a certain category. So that is one way to represent categorical data. Okay, change my page. So a circle graph shows data as parts of a whole. You've seen these as pie charts. And so when we're going to have a more thorough lesson on circle graphs coming up, but for this piece right here, this information, we just need to remember that a circle has 360 degrees, and when we're creating our circle graph, we need to make sure that we account for that and how we map it out. A line graph shows how data changes over time, and it maps from each point or marker to another point. So I'm going to give you a more elaborate lesson in that, but you might talk about, let's see, I've been trying to do some push-ups while I've been at home, and so each day I try to add some to it. So the first day maybe I did 5, and the second day maybe 10, and the third day maybe 15, and so I could map each of those points and draw a line between them. Okay, so if I can get it apart. Okay. All right, so next are histograms, and we are going to have a more in-depth lesson on histograms. Histograms show frequencies of data over intervals that are the same size. It is a way to display continuous data rather than categorical data, and if you'll notice, you can see on this, there are no spaces between the bars on histograms. Okay? A stem and leaf plot orders numerical data and shows how they are distributed, and I'm not sure if we're going to do a more thorough lesson on this. You may have done this before, I think you probably have, but it does give us kind of an overview, overarching picture of the distribution of the data when we create a stem and leaf plot. Okay, box and whisker plots are very important methods of displaying data because they display where the bulk of our data sits so that we can really understand variability. So they show the variability of a data set using quartiles, and we are going to have a more in-depth lesson on box and whisker plots. A dot plot shows the number of times each value occurs in a data set. So for example, if I asked each of you how many siblings you have, some of you might tell me 1, some of you might tell me 4, some of you might tell me 2, and I could plot that here. I could say 1 person told me 1, 2 people told me 2, 3 people told me 3 siblings, okay, and that's how you would map that out. And lastly, we're going to talk about scatter plots, and if you've been in Math 1B, you know what a scatter plot is. It is shows the relationship between 2 data sets using ordered pairs in a coordinate plane. Okay, that's actually in your book, it says that, but we've worked with those. Just very recently in chapter 4, we created scatter plots, and then we use linear regression to create a model for our data. Okay, so I'm looking forward to getting into more detail on a few of these, and Mrs. Yule is also going to be providing some instructional videos on some of these ways to display data for this section. Okay, thanks.